Let me share. My bad. Yeah, I'm coming to y'all live from the dark because I couldn't do this from my computer because they wouldn't show the imagery. I put up a post earlier today on both Twitter, IG, YouTube, and here on YouTube and Facebook. And like always, I got pushback from the fucking New Yorkers because every day I keep hearing this whole you don't know about hip hop because you're not from New York. Hip hop is New York culture. We all hear this every day. And anybody saying they don't hear that is full of shit. What's up, Vic? What's up, Persephone Rising? Everybody in there. Well, you hear this shit all day. So when you come up with things and you respond to the New York bullshit, it's always gonna be some goddamn New Yorker saying, "We don't say that. We don't talk like that." Well, yeah, you do. What's up, Ebony? And I'm here because the rest of the country has had to suffer for way too long with this whole everything out of hip hop is New York. The South had to suffer through this shit. The Midwest still don't get the acknowledgement they deserve. You know, the West, we all got to hear this bullshit from y'all. So, I say things to show the influence and that other parts of America, Black America, has on hip hop. Because the truth is, hip hop is wherever Black Americans are. If you're Black and in the South, that's hip hop. Black in Chicago, there is no, I don't play one above the other. But since I got to hear so much bullshit, specifically from New Yorkers, I purposely have a good time showing y'all how little and insignificant you are relative to the rest of the nation. And every part of the country has its thing to say when it comes to hip hop. All the Black parts of the country. You're right, New York hated on everybody, now the karma kicking in. So earlier, I made a point, and if you just go read the comments. I put a post up saying that America changed. The NWA changed the way America dresses. How sports apparel was a minor part of the NFL's revenue before NWA. And how, for the most part, Americans wore different things. We weren't really into sports gear. Actually, when you go back to the 80s and before, when Black people, when we went out, we generally wore suits and like spiffied up type shit, But every area of the country has its own culture, its own way it dresses. And the LA way of dressing through NWA is the style of dress that ended up taking over the world to where now it's common to see people in baseball caps and jackets and things like that. But before NWA's Straight Outta Compton album, that was rare. Not saying people did not wear jerseys, not saying people didn't wear baseball caps, but it was a insignificant part of how people dress. People wore other things. And so I got a lot of people pushing back. And so I'm like, see, look, let me tell y'all something. When I come and talk to y'all and teach and talk to y'all, I'm not pulling shit out my ass. I learn things. And when I learn things, I have a very good memory. So I learn things and I catalog things. And then when the thing hits my mind, I make a post about it or I make a YouTube live about it. And sometimes my numbers may be a little bit off, but the sentiment of what I'm saying is right. So I got so much pushback from a lot of you dickheads out there. I said, you know what? Let me just go ahead and find where I got that from. And I did. So what I'm going to do is, let me turn this around. If y'all ever saw this documentary right here, if y'all ever saw this one on, it was an ESPN called Straight Outta LA. on ESPN. And it's still up on ESPN Plus. You guys can go back and watch it yourself. So it's talking about how the Raiders logo, the Raiders look, changed things. And how that Raider look just changed apparel. It changed the way teams did their thing and the way and what people did. So let's watch a little bit of this. Let's watch a little bit of this. And let's talk about it.
NWA took it around the world. The Raiders was just a football team they represent.
Listen to this.
So I mean, you could see the connection between what the silver and black represented and what NWA.
So they're talking about
definitely because the silver and black took on the NWA face because NWA took it around the world. The Raiders was just a football team that played when the season was on. NWA played all year long. And then through you guys, they figured out, oh, Raiders, football. Oh, that's, okay, it makes sense. And then the Raider Nation began, but the hip hop nation pushed it first and foremost because we did what y'all did.
Watch this. So
the Raiders were.
excuse me, y'all. So we're gonna listen. So that was Snoop Dogg talking. Yeah, fair. This is fair use. This is fair use. And so watch this. So watch this. Watch as they go into it.
Clearly a brand. They were the Darth Vader of the league. They were mysterious.
He said the Raiders were clearly a brand.
Personality. They were black. And they were connected to the music business. Family friends would say, gee, I just saw...
You see, it started with the West Coast. You saw MC Hammer with the Raiders because the Raiders were first in Oakland, Ice-T, NWA. They really popularized NFL and sports merchandise through specifically the Raiders. And it matters it's the Raiders because that's what they're talking about, the silver and black color scheme. Mind you, in 1988, the Lakers were the champions, and so were the LA Dodgers. But the Dodgers merch didn't do it. The Lakers merch didn't do it. It was the Raiders. And in LA, the Raiders were actually third in command. The Lakers and Dodgers were on top at that time. The Raiders had just moved down here from Oakland.
A Hollywood celebrity. Or I just saw a music personality wear the product. I mean, we reveled in it. I mean, it was great. We loved it.
Some of our licensees began selling their product and placing their product on.
Listen to this part. This is the head of marketing. I'm going to go back to this part. He's talking about the licensees, about how after Straight Outta Compton came out, how the licensees of NFL merchandise changed what they were buying. Let's go back.
We reveled in it. I mean, it was great. We loved it.
Some of our licensees began selling their product and placing their product on some of the up-and-coming hip-hop or rap groups at the time and getting on MTV, and the merchandise for the Raiders in particular became tremendously popular. And that vaulted them to close to the top of sales or number one for a number of years.
So it's talking about how just the NWA alone took the Raiders to the top of sales because the Raiders became synonymous just with NWA more so than they were football.
I think the boom in merchandise is a direct result of hip-hop. If you look at an NFL stadium before the boom of hip-hop and look at it afterwards, you'll see the difference.
The black kids needed something to hold their hat to. They brought fans. They brought people to love them.
And you notice Al Davis said the black kids, not the black and Latino. See, he an old school racist looking like a liver spot. This is right before he died. But he's saying, look, the black kids are the ones who did it. The black kids. Let's keep going.
It was great.
When I got to the NFL at retail, the business was...
This is the part that I posted. This is the part, I'm going to start this part from the beginning. Because he's going to give you the retail numbers. Wait.
You'll see the difference.
The black kids needed something to hold their hat to. They brought fans.
So this next part I'm about to go to right now, sorry, listen to the numbers. He's going to tell you, this is the head of NFL marketing, merchandising. He's going to tell you the numbers that the NFL is merchandising at in 1986 when he came in versus what it was merchandising at in 1993 when he left?
It brought people to love the Raiders.
Listen.
It was great.
When I got to the NFL at retail, the business was about $300 million. And when I left 7.5 years later in 1993, it was close to $3 billion.
You hear that? Before NWA, NFL merchandising was about $300 million. He left in 93. It went over $3 billion.
Later on, they was selling Kings, LA Kings gear, you know, and I think LA Kings had some flowery type colors before that.
During that time, I called Al Davis and asked him whether or not, you know.
So there you go. See, when I talk to y'all, and this is for you dickheads that was over here doubting what I was saying, I'm not here to make shit up. I'm not here to make things up. I'll be in the garage. I am not here to make things up. I don't want y'all seeing everything right in my goddamn place. I'm not making things up. When I said that NWA changed the way America dresses, that's what I meant. And the proof is in the numbers. Yeah, tip the host. I appreciate that, Ebony. The proof is in the numbers. If they were a $300 million a year thing in merchandising, that's consistent with, okay, people just basically, you know, they might buy some gear to go to a game. You may have a baseball cap, you know, of your favorite team. You may have, you may have, but when you go from, what's up, DSB? Appreciate that. When you go from, when your industry goes from 300 million a year to 3 billion, when you multiply 10x because of an album cover, that's the evidence of its effect. Appreciate that, DSB. What's up, Miriam? What's up, everybody in here? So, that's just how, when people do research, what's up, DJ Scrap Dirty? When people do research, that's how research is done. You say, okay, there was a boom in something. Where does this boom come from? And then you do the research. You see, it all happened at the same time this album dropped. Now, that's the first point of reference. The second point of reference is, NFL merch boomed. All right, fine. What NFL merch boomed? Well, the NFL merch boomed of the team that was used in the Straight Outta Compton video and album cover, the Raiders, the silver and black. Was the silver and black popular because they were the most popular team? No. Because like I said earlier, when you go back, got some kush right here. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna mix that kush with some of this. I'm gonna mix my shit up. I'm gonna mix my shit. You say, okay, not only did merchandise boom, it was specifically the merchandise of that Los Angeles and Oakland. But at the time, the Raiders were in LA, not Oakland. But MC Hammer and Oakland guys still wore Raiders stuff. You say, not only did merchandise boom, but it boomed specifically for that LA team that those LA and Bay Area rappers were rocking. And that subsequently, if you watch further in that documentary, it talks about how that changed the LA Kings, the San Antonio Spurs, like all these No, so the Spurs already had silver and black, but it changed how they did. You know, they had them ugly teal colored courts. It changed how other teams marketed and merchandise. So when I made the post about West Coast hip hop, like how, here's the reason I made that post. Because when you talk about people like Fat Joe, appreciate it again, DSB. When you listen to Fat Joe, Busta Rhymes, and all these so-called hip hop experts, they always say hip hop is New York culture. Hip hop is New York culture. Hip hop. Chat room, press the number one. Press the number one if you've heard people say hip hop is New York culture. Press the number one. Press the number one, please. Because I want to make sure I don't sound like some crazed lunatic. So the chat room, y'all see what I see. How many times have you heard people say hip hop is New York culture? The ones are still going. If y'all listening, watch your phone. Look at the chat. From Buffalo, he know. Buffalo got a dope ass music history, but them hip hop niggas always wanted to X the Buffalo niggas out. But New York niggas, they accept Buffalo now because of Griselda. How many times have you heard that? So when people are always saying hip hop is New York culture, that's a lie. If you tell a lie long enough and loud enough, it becomes the truth. And those of us from around the country, we can't allow that truth to happen, because no, hip hop is Black American culture. Whether you're in Chicago, Memphis, LA, Birmingham, Miami, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Charlotte, Charlottesville, Pittsburgh, nigga. So when you hear people say hip hop is New York culture, then this is how you say DC. Yeah, name is hip hop is anywhere Black Americans whose families can trace back to slavery in the United States exist. That's hip hop, Black American culture, period. It shows New York has its expression. Baltimore has its own expression. Philadelphia has its own expression of hip hop. East Orange, New Jersey has its own expression. Richmond, Virginia has its own expression. Wherever we live, hip hop has its own expression relative to our current environment. So when they say do your research, this is research. See, people that say do your research, most of them niggas didn't go to college and don't know what the fuck research is. I just gave you something that would be acceptable by anthropological standards. I'm giving you college standards, boy. In college, you got to give points of reference, primary sources, and numbers and evidence to back up what you're saying. I just gave you information that you could take to any college professor on the planet and they'll accept it. Because we not only talked about how, okay, we can look and see how people were dressing before Straight Outta Compton, and you didn't see jerseys. Starter jackets. That wasn't part of hip hop culture in 1985. The whole wearing sports attire got introduced to hip hop culture through the West. And how you know it's hip hop, aka Black culture, because when we change things, the world changes. So when NWA did it, They were just doing it because that's how we was dressing out here in the West. And they said they was wearing all black. They wanted to come with their own style. Back then, you had to be different. You couldn't bite. If you go back and watch that documentary, you hear Cube talk about how Easy said, we wanted everybody in black. And so it went from just wearing black to wearing the Raiders attire. That was what NWA did to stand out. Because those of us who know real hip, real black culture, it's all about being unique and standing out. So the NWA wore the Raiders attire to stand out and be different and be unique, because no one else in hip hop at that time was doing that. So that was the Raiders that was NWA's contribution to their uniqueness. And so through one album cover and one music video, merchandise sales went from 300 million to 3 billion just in a couple years. So you see how that works? You see how that works? Appreciate that, G Mars. Yeah, that Georgetown gear got popular afterwards. Started out with Raiders gear, but that Georgetown gear was hot in the early 90s, boy. I ain't gonna lie, them Georgetown Hoya, man, that shit was hot in 91. Like by 91, 92, them Georgetown, niggas start getting into Georgetown, nigga, yes. So, but that was a spark. So when I made my post, that pissed a lot of you guys off. Well, not people necessarily in the chat, but it pissed people off. I was basing it off information. When are you guys going to understand that when I say things, I'm basing it off something that I've learned? I learned this shit. When you hear people say, see, certain points of references, when you hear somebody who's like, hold on, let me clean this screen up. When you watch a documentary and you see the head of marketing, the head of apparel merchandising say, okay, we went from making this amount of money to that amount of money, not saying that people did not wear apparel before. No one said people did not wear sports team apparel. Obviously, people wore sports team apparel because they were making $300 million a year. So if they're making $300 million a year, somebody's wearing it. But when you go from $300 million a year to now $3 billion a year in just a couple years, and from then, and that is directly tied to the one team that did that, that shows you that's the ripple. That's the ripple. I keep saying people saying Georgetown gear before Raider gear. God damn it, Georgetown been around longer than the Raiders. You know what else was here before Raiders gear? Yankees gear was here before Raiders gears. Dodgers gear was around before Raider gear. Laker gear was, yeah, plenty of people around before Laker gear, before Raider gear. Yeah, they were around, but wasn't nobody buying worldwide. It didn't become a worldwide phenomenon until NWA did it. Dude, I literally just said it was a $300 million a year business before the Raiders. God damn. I just said it. You cannot sell $300 million a year if no one's wearing it. Obviously, somebody's wearing it if they're selling $300 million a year. Fuck, do I have to write this shit down? Do I have to fucking, do you guys gotta fucking replay this shit at a half speed? Like, are you niggas slow? Like, I have a real issue with slow people. Like, let me know if you're retarded or not. I will slow down and spell it out for you if you're retarded. God damn. These motherfuckers must be retarded. Oh, and my friend was wearing a Boston Celtics jersey in 1984. Okay. It wasn't the big, God. You motherfuckers are retarded. That's right, G. You can explain it, but you cannot help them understand it. Like, this is the frustration of somebody who teaches like me. It's just like, no, I don't mean disabled. I mean retarded. I'm not going to get rid of certain words. Words like retarded are necessary. Words like midget are necessary. Retarded is a very necessary word. Some of you motherfuckers are just fucking retarded. They did wear Georgetown. Nigga, I'm saying it blew up in the 90s. Was niggas wearing Georgetown gear in DC in 85? I'm sure they were. Just like here in LA, people was wearing USC gear. I remember people wearing USC gear and UCLA gear here, especially UCLA, all them national championships they won. It was UCLA. I remember seeing UCLA hats around here in LA. Well, Cash Grow, I didn't even see what you wrote. So you say you agree with me. Thank you, I appreciate it. But I didn't see it in your previous posts. You know, I'm not talking about you in particular. But shit, people like Georgetown stuff in 1985, yes. I saw UCLA Bruin shit in 1985. Duh, nigga. Gosh. My dad always had Laker hats. And we would always get like a Laker t-shirt, especially when we won a championship. So yes, people wore sports attire. My God. What we're saying is after NWA came out with Straight Outta Compton, it became a common, regular part of fashion, starting with the Raiders, based on what the NFL head of merchandising said, not DwannBrown, not me. I played a video of the head of NFL merchandising at the time, what he said. Based on what he said, I drew a conclusion. And from there, as you get throughout the 90s, it evolves. I remember the Charlotte Hornets, like to this day, I always say for me, the coldest starter jackets, Raiders got it kicked off, but to me, the coldest starter jackets was between the Bulls, the Orlando Magic, and the Charlotte Hornets. That Charlotte Hornets powder blue bumblebee, nigga. 93? Charlotte Hornets get, nigga, what? The spark was the West Coast hip-hop NWA Raiders. And from that spark, it blew up and evolved. And CT, you said Hornets for the win? Yeah, I'm going to have to go with that. I'm going to have to go with the Charlotte Hornet. That Charlotte Hornet shit was cold in 93. Now, the Dallas Cowboys have the biggest merchandising you really see around, but the start was the West. And the purpose for me making that statement was to go at people that turn around and say, hip-hop is New York culture. Hip-hop is no, hip-hop is black culture. When Outkast got popping, what did they do? When they came out with Southern Player Illicit, Cadillac Funky Music, they wore an Atlanta Braves jersey. So hip-hop in the South, out of Atlanta, when Atlanta put its stamp on hip-hop, they rocked Atlanta Braves jerseys. Yep, that's what Al. You're right. When what song was that? BGTV. When Ice Cube said, because Ice Cube really started to see what it was. I think that was Death Certificate when he said, "I stopped giving juice to the Raiders because Al Davis never paid us. Just stop giving juice to the Raiders because Al Davis never paid us." But Ice Cube said it way more smooth than me. That would be like you niggas arguing me over this. That would be like me coming out and saying, man, Run DMC didn't bring gazelles and thick rope chains to hip hop. Run DMC was gazelle glasses and rope chains. LL Cool J's was the Kango hat. Back then, everybody had to be unique. Because you had the Furious Five, they was more dressed like a 70s funk act. Houdini wore suits. LL made the Kango pop. Kango wasn't shit before LL Cool J. Yeah, you're right, it was an intro to Death Certificate. See, when you do your research, see, people say research and they don't know what the fuck research is. Everybody got their own unique thing. Yeah, Run DMC, Adidas, my Adidas. Adidas, like, that was the great, I saw something where it said, like, Run DMC's My Adidas was like the greatest campaign Adidas ever had. Run DMC with their Adidas and them gazelle glasses. LL Cool J, Kango hats. NWA started like baseball cap, sports attire, caps and jackets. That's all I'm doing. But because a lot of you New York niggas be so fucking jealous of anybody outside of New York bringing anything to hip hop, The first thing y'all do is, Yeah, Rakim, MCM and Gucci sweatsuits. Yeah. Rakim with the Dapper Dan look. And then Puffy with the shiny suits era. Yeah, LL put on FUBU. He made FUBU a thing. Tupac, Carl Kanai. See, people be so quick to just refute you when you say things. Well, you talking about New York? I'm talking about New York because y'all be acting like bitches. That's why. And not every New Yorker. And I ain't talking about every New Yorker. I'm talking about the people who talk like this. Different groups got different things that they brought into the game. And when black people bring things into the game, whatever we doing, the world copies. I was about to go buy some gazelles the other day. I saw some gazelles, but I saw about something like, oh, I want to get them. But they was like the hip hop anniversary edition, and they was like 1,200. I was like, not now. I'm waiting to the summertime. It's not that sunny right now for $1,200. But I'm gonna get them hoes. I love gazelles. Yeah, see the chat room, y'all bringing it up, talking about all the different people who brought in different stuff. Yeah. Some fashion, some style stayed around for a short amount of time. It was really hot for a short while. Some style stayed around for a long time. Just so happens wearing sports merchandise is still around. People still wear baseball caps. People still wear their favorite team's jacket. Not as much as they did back in the 90s. But that's just what it is. What's up, James? Yeah, Hammer had gazelles, but you got to give gazelles to New York. You got to give gazelles to New York. You got to give Kangos to New York. You got to wear the MCM suits to New York. Yeah. Yeah, just like LA with the bandanas, right? That's right, Will. Yep. But it's like whenever you talk about, and this is why I'm gonna stay on New York. This is why I have no issues with going ham on New York, and I will stand 100 New Yorkers against me, and I will win. Cause y'all full of shit. Yeah, LA and Nike, like how New York and Tim's, LA and Nike Cortez. You can put every New Yorker up. You can line all them niggas up. And I don't need nobody helping me, just me. Yeah, LA Chucks, yep. See, as a as a teacher, I have a universal approach too. I'm universal. I'm about universally recognizing everybody and understanding there is a lie that's pervasive right now, and it's a damaging lie to hip hop. Somebody there, we got an argument. Somebody from the Bay talking shit about LA saying Oakland made Jordans popular. Somebody earlier from Chicago says Chicago made Jordans popular. So why don't you argue with him, nigga? I'm gonna go so far and say Chicago made Jordans popular because Michael Jordan was their guy. I remember Jordan sitting on the rack back in the 80s. When them Jordans 2s came out, I remember them not selling that well. But Chicago niggas, that was their guy. Somebody dropped, what the fuck is 11? What is that? Is that 11 euros? I don't know what the fuck sign that is. Somebody said drop the link. Dude, like I got a fucking link on YouTube Live. He right. I'm gonna go with CMD Boxing Report. Jordan made Jordans popular. I think I'm gonna roll with that too. Spike Lee made a long way. What made Jordans popular was the marketing of the NBA. But again, that comes on the heels of NWA making sports apparels popular. It was NWA that made sports apparel popular. New Yorkers love talking all that shit like they're the end all be all. Let me tell you something, New Yorkers. I'm going to say something that's really going to piss y'all off, but it's true. Y'all still have y'all shit from Philadelphia. Do I got to say that again? Jay-Z? How many times New York got to go down to Philadelphia to steal swag? It's just that New York has a bigger microphone than Philly. See, I understand Philly. How often y'all got to go down to Philly to steal shit? I'm tired of other parts of America having to suffer and not get recognition because you New Yorkers want to run y'all goddamn mouth so much. Somebody said Philly is not him. Oh, let's break Philadelphia down, shall I? Do you understand that Philadelphia has a more than 200-year continuous history of Black American music, culture, and style uninterrupted by slavery? Huh? See, a lot of New York stuff is brought to y'all, like rap was brought to y'all from South Carolina and North Carolina. Bebop was brought to New York from Kansas City. Because if y'all go back and salute the Star Report, he said, I'm ducking the smoke. I ain't ducking the smoke. Smoke these nuts. The fuck is you talking about? Who the fuck is this guy? I literally just said, you can't do, I'm on YouTube, you dummy, not Instagram. You can send a link on Instagram, not on YouTube. I'm not on StreamYard. Now type what you have to say, and I'll refute it and shut it down. But New York done stole so much shit from Philly. Philly has so much culture and style. See, Philadelphia has a music that doesn't come from the South. Philadelphia music don't come from the South. It comes from Philadelphia. But salute to Star. He didn't he mentioned something that I had said on microphone check. A lot of hip hop is a direct ripoff of bebop culture. And bebop culture comes from Kansas City. It went from Kansas City to New York. Philadelphia has its own thing. The first sheet music ever written comes out of Philadelphia. Georgia did not start R&B. R&B's roots are in LA. Recording. R&B would have been a fly-by-night sound had LA not been the first to invest in R&B. LA, Chicago, Philadelphia, that's your home of R&B before it gets to the South. LA, Chicago, Philadelphia. Louis Jordan is the original king of R&B. He was doing R&B in the 40s before Ray Charles. Ray Charles did his R&B stuff in the 50s. Late 50s by that. Louis Jordan was doing his in the 40s. But yeah, the neo soul sound is Philadelphia, and even that has a lot of roots in LA. Ray Charles did not start R&B. Sufi, you fucking dummy. I told you, Louis Jordan was doing it before him, you fucking idiot. Go subscribe to my Patreon and goddamn subscribe to my Patreon and listen to my fucking 100 years of black music history. I give it to you in chronological order, you dickhead. Yeah, I hate the sound neo soul. Neo soul is just authentic R&B. Philadelphia kept authentic R&B alive. That's what Philadelphia did. They kept authentic R&B alive. Neo soul is kind of like, it kind of others the sound, and I don't like that. But if you listen to a lot of your quote unquote Philadelphia's neo soul style, a lot of that is rooted in Roy Ayers. If you know who Roy Ayers is, you know who I'm talking about. Roy Ayers was born and raised in LA. And a lot of the production was the Mizell brothers. The Blackbirds out of DC, they were produced by the Mizell brothers out of LA. When you listen to the songs like Times Are Wasting by Erykah Badu, that is a song that was done by Johnny Hammond Smith that was produced by the Mizell brothers out of LA. When Donald Byrd came in with that funk soul fusion sound, he did that album when Donald Byrd made that jazz fusion funk. It's that Donald Byrd jazz fusion funk / Roy Ayers sound that is the neo soul sound. Will you guys agree with that? No, Roy's from LA, Kid Cash. Roy Ayers is from Los Angeles. Stop it. When Donald Byrd made that change from jazz to funk fusion, go look up, don't listen to me. Look up who produced those albums from the Blackbirds, from Donald Byrd. Donald Byrd, Wind Parade, Falling Like Dominoes. That was all produced by the Mizell brothers. The Mizell brothers are from Los Angeles. They also produced some stuff at Motown when Motown first came to LA. Yeah, that's the LA sound. I know Donald Byrd's from Detroit. Donald Byrd's a jazz musician. Do you know that Donald Byrd is a person that introduced the world to Herbie Hancock? Donald Byrd gave Herbie Hancock his first gig before Herbie Hancock went to Miles Davis. But when Donald Byrd made that change to funk, fusion, soulful jazz, he was produced by the Mizell brothers. Okay? Capiche? And that's the underlying vibe to what later became known as Neo Soul. Somebody said wasn't no chitlin circuit in LA. Have you heard of Central Avenue? Black people, we got to get up on our history, yo. Central Ave? The LA jazz scene started in 1920 on Central Ave. The building is still there on 11th and Central. That's where jazz started out here. Did you see My Name is Dolomite? The Dunbar Hotel? What are you guys talking about? Central Ave. That was every bit as important to jazz and rhythm and blues. There is no rhythm and blues without Central Ave. Yeah, Roy Ayers went to Jefferson High. And people say people ain't from LA. You know, three of my four grandparents went to Jefferson High. That's how LA I am. My grandmother and grandfather on my mom's side, they met at Jefferson High. And my grandfather on my dad's side, my grandmother on my dad's mom, she went to high school in Dallas. But my grandfather went to Jefferson High, class of 1942. Central Avenue, what the fuck is you talking about, nigga? Do you know that the first person in United States history that was arrested for marijuana was Louis Armstrong? Yeah, the father of jazz, Louis Armstrong. He was arrested. Where was he arrested? Here in LA, on Sunset in 1937 for smoking weed. And he sat in jail for 1 week until his Jewish manager got him out. See, one thing I'm gonna break all of y'all of is this regional shit. I'm using regional divisiveness to break up the divisiveness. I'm calling New York out first because y'all the main ones that do it. But the South is pretty bad too. Everything comes from the South. You niggas gonna learn something today. Philadelphia's music history never touched the South. Those string arrangements you see in from Barry White to goddamn Ray Charles, that's Philadelphia. Never was in the South. Black music is wherever black people stand. Black music is wherever black people stand. It don't all come from the South. It don't all come from the hip hop is not New York culture. We wouldn't have heavy metal if it weren't. We wouldn't have metal and rock if it weren't for Seattle. You niggas just forget about Seattle because we just allow white people to take that heavy metal sound. Seattle got something to say. Chicago, and when it comes to the blues, I'm not giving credit to the South. I'm giving credit to Memphis. I'm going to say that again. When it comes to blues, I ain't giving credit to the South. Credit go to Memphis. Memphis is what invested in the blues and made the blues a thing. No, because no, you don't get to share equal credit. Yes, Memphis is in the South, but New York is in the upper Northeast. They don't share credit with Philadelphia, do they? You see how people's minds are? The South is the biggest region in America where black people exist. It always has been, always will be. Now, I can't say always has been, because we've been all over this country. It's been since the 1800s, 1850, 1830s. Because a lot of the research I'm doing right now is talking about how all the black people who were marched from the North to the South when slavery was abolished in the North. By the hundreds of thousands, black people were marched in to the South from Ohio, from Wisconsin. Yeah. So a lot of the people that was in the South, they was only in the South for maybe 2 generations. In 1810, they said like they shipped well over 200,000 people from Virginia to Mississippi. Oh, what's up, Sincere? No, I'm not giving credit to the South for that. No. Memphis gets the credit. Going back to what I was saying about the blues. Because Memphis is the place where the people from the Delta can go and have a livelihood and a career. It was Memphis. And from Memphis, they get on a train and either go to Kansas City deserves more credit for the blues than the South. I said it. But do you see how compartmentalized people's minds are? When I say you'll conflate what's going on in Pensacola, Florida, with what's going on in Memphis, but then see the difference between New York and New Jersey, and them motherfuckers is 2 miles apart. See how compartmentalized our minds are? Just think about that for a second. People can see the difference between New York and Jersey, and they're just across one fucking river. But group Memphis in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's a whole fucking Appalachian mountain range between the two. You see that? But Kansas City and the South is so diverse. People act like people. See, this is the thing about people from the South. Yeah, I'm from LA, but you act like I ain't spent time down there. New Orleans culture is completely different from Shreveport culture. Am I lying? You can't compare New Orleans to Shreveport. But y'all be like, oh, it's the South. Say I'm lying. Say I'm lying. Can you compare Louisiana to Shreveport? I'll wait. You're quiet now, huh? Dallas. Yes, somebody say you don't compare. Listen to a nigga from tell a nigga from New Orleans about God. That's the reason why Southern and Grambling have such of a rivalry. Don't act like I'm different. Don't act like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because I'm from LA. I know how to do research. If you know how to do research, you can fucking find out anything you want to do. That's why Southern and Grambling fight so much. It's a cultural battle in Louisiana. That's why that's the genesis of the Grambling Southern rivalry. The cultural differences between Northern Louisiana and Southern Louisiana. Distinct cultural differences. There are distinct cultural differences between Dallas and Houston. Dallas and Houston niggas talk all kind of shit. Houston niggas don't wear shags. South Dallas niggas do. There's a completely cultural difference between Birmingham and Atlanta. And they 3 hours apart. You can't compare Birmingham to Atlanta. You can't compare Charlotte to Richmond, Virginia. I've been all across this whole fucking country. Don't play with me. Niggas be like, oh, it's the South. No, nigga, no. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. We gonna look, on this channel, we keep it real. We keep it real. We keep it real, and we don't mind giving you cognitive dissonance. We keep it real. Memphis is something about that water in Memphis that, and it's not the water, it's the money you invest. Memphis invested in the radio, had OGs like Albert King be DJs, and Memphis got a thing, got a vibe to it that's distinctly different from Nashville. Completely different culture between Memphis and Nashville. Same state. Then you got to give, again, going back to Kansas City. Kansas City deserves far more credit for the blues than, say, what's the southern city? Charlotte. When it comes to blues, oh, Kansas City. And the black people that migrated to Kansas City didn't come from Charlotte. So if you say it's a southern thing, you're making it seem as if Jacksonville, Florida has more influence over the blues than Kansas City. You see how that works? If you make it a southern thing, now people, it's easy to say, okay, yeah, well, the blues, it would never would have happened. The blues never would have happened if it wasn't for Macon, Georgia. No, Macon, Georgia had a different thing. And then Chicago. No, then from there you got to get to St. Louis. St. Louis. The Blues Highway is Memphis, Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago. And then when you get to Chicago, Chicago is what sent the blues worldwide. Memphis gave the South a central rallying place from those from Louisiana and those from Mississippi. It gave them a central place to where Mississippi and Louisiana, specifically Mississippi, Louisiana, they got to, in Alabama, They got to all come together in Memphis. Memphis created a stew of all that deep Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama to come together. And Memphis is the place that soup got made. And then that soup went up to Chicago, and Chicago is where that soup got broadcast to the world. Because remember, Chicago's the home of radio. Chicago is the home of radio. And it was Chicago, when those guys went to Chicago, Chicago pushed the blues around the world. And the reason why the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Elton John, all of these acts get their sound is because of what Chicago pushed to the world. So Chicago deserves its credit, because nobody would have heard your little funky ass sound if it wasn't for Chicago. Tired of motherfuckers not wanting to give credit to other regions of the country. If y'all notice, as much LA shit as I talk, I'm the first to give up credit where credit is due. Pay attention. I'm the first to give credit where credit is due. Because it's a cross-pollination of black culture that make this thing happen. What up, Nina boy? That's my cousin right there. That's my cousin. Hey, Nina boy, man, when I saw that video of what happened with Wack, I went right to your channel. I was like, I know cousin gonna have a scoop. My cousin be giving me, I get my nigga tree from my cousin, Nina boy. Anytime I want some shit going on in the world of the streets, I look at my cousin's YouTube channel. I'm proud of you, homeboy. Proud of you, homeboy. But that's why I say, man, especially, yeah, street nasty, it is a small world, man. Nina boy, one of my closer cousins I grew up around. My brother used to cut him and his brother's hair. Yeah, that's my cousin right there. Blood cousin. His mama's my daddy's sister. His mom is my dad's sister. First cousin, yep. Cousin we used to play football with when we was kids, like on the grass. Not that cousin on the other side of the world that you barely see. Nah, cousin used to come to church with us when we was kids. That's how close me and him are. Not some old cousin you barely saw, nah. Remember when I told y'all that story? I said I had cousins that was in the streets and about how like LA street politics was. Cuzzo knew I was on some other shit, so me and Cuzzo never got involved on that shit. He had his life over there with that. I had my life over here with that. They respected me being a square, and I got forever appreciation for that too, cousin. So yeah, I stayed away from that shit, and Cuzzo kept me. Like when it came to that, we was in different worlds, but when we came together, it's love. Yeah. Hell yeah. People see that shit I talk, I ain't gonna never be it. I love my cousins. Man, shit. Hell yeah. But I be proud of my cousin Nina boy when I be seeing him run the numbers up on YouTube. I be proud of that nigga. Show enough said, come to Texas. Ask Nina Boy about Texas. Nigga, our family from Texas. Hey, Cuzzo, I don't know if you knew this, but the house down in South Dallas that the family still got, we got that house in the 1890s. That house has been in our family for 5 generations. The house in Dallas. Yeah. But hell yeah, I got deep roots in Dallas. And before my family was in Dallas, they were in I got family in Dallas, Lufkin, Overton, Texas, New London, Texas. Nigga, I spent, you know what I mean, on my mom's side, I got Overton, Texas. Nigga, what? And we got my family still got land in Overton, Texas, on my mom's side. And on my dad's side, all throughout Dallas. Yeah. Yeah. See, people don't know about Overton, Texas. Somebody said, come back home. Nigga, home is LA. What the fuck is you talking about? Home is LA. My grandmama came here and stayed here. My grandmama was like, you know what? I ain't going back. I love LA. And I love my grandmama. This is home. My mom and my dad was born here. And my great-grandparents on my mom's side moved here, not my grandparents. I'm sorry, my great-grandparents. When Alfred Hoggett invented the automatic railroad crossing, he sold his patent and moved from Benton Harbor, Michigan to Los Angeles, California. Yeah, rip grandmama. Nigga, my roots are LA. But going back to what I was saying, I just saw somebody comment on the post that I made earlier about New York, and it said that, Dwann, look like you giving plant vibes. You see how dumb these niggas get? No. There is no one region owns anything in black music, in black culture. Don't no one region own anything. But every region contributed something. See, this is why Fat Joe, Busta Rhymes, and all of these non-black people can come and take our shit. Because niggas is too busy fighting. That's from the South. Ooh, man, no. You wouldn't have it if it wasn't for New York. Ooh, everything you wouldn't have if it... Shut the fuck up. Stop. Niggas done let white people take heavy metal because there's not enough black people in Seattle to defend it. Niggas so busy talking about the South. That's the reason why white people got to take heavy metal. Because black people created it up there, but since it happened in Seattle, niggas don't want to give it any kind of credit. Then white people are like, shit, cool, we'll take it. Because we don't see ourselves as one. All this regional bullshit, fuck shit. I don't stand for it. Now, I do believe in giving each region its unique credit for its contribution, but that has to come evenly. I'm not gonna group the South. No, I'm not. Because I'm not going to give Virginia the credit for the blues. No, that y'all, Virginia has something else going on. Virginia had bluegrass music playing, and that's black too, by the way. They had in West Virginia, they had the yodeling, and they had, in the Appalachian country, y'all had bluegrass folk music. Y'all didn't have blues. And a lot of your country style and blues comes from the Carolinas. A lot of your country music. And as a matter of fact, country music's original roots is in Atlanta. Did you know that? Before country music got to Nashville, it was rooted in Atlanta. Facts. Yeah. Yeah, facts. You gotta, when it comes to country, you gotta give Atlanta. Yeah. You see how it all works together? Each region black people are in gave a unique contribution to the sound. But we say, oh, it's from the South. No, okay, now you're, what would rhythm and blues be without string arrangements? I'm talking about the golden age of rhythm and blues. From up into the 80s, from the Ray Charles style of rhythm and blues to the Motown sound. What would it be without string arrangements and horn arrangements? What would rhythm and blues be without strings and horns? Well, the string and horns arrangements don't come from the South. The string and the horn arrangements come from the North. Boston, Philadelphia, to be more specific. Yeah, the orchestral arrangements come from the North. That's Philadelphia. But I gotta hear people say, it's from the South. You niggas wasn't doing orchestral arrangements in the South. It was more gritty in the South. Yeah. And another thing that gets us credit, that gets us the sound like people. Like I saw some people saying, "Well, Snoop Dogg's family is from the South." So, if they ass had stayed in the South, you never would have heard Doggy Style. Capiche? Because music is a sonic interpretation of your environment. Your environment you live in and you're in dictates the sound of the music. Do you guys understand that? It's the weather and the vibration of LA that made Snoop Dogg sound, not Memphis. Who gives a fuck where the parents are from? He was raised in Long Beach. So the sound of his music is from Long Beach, not Memphis or Mississippi. Whatever y'all said. Who gives a fuck where the parents are from? Even if they were born there. If they move somewhere and they're raised, what the energy of what you're raised in dictates your music. It's the energy. It's your environment. That's why when do you know that Ice Cube wrote "Cruising Down the Street in My 6'4"? They wrote that for a band in New York, a rap group in New York. I forgot the name of the group. Chat room, y'all might remember. But when Ice Cube wrote "Cruising Down the Street in My 6'4", he wrote that for some New York artists. But "Cruising Down the Street in My 6'4" didn't mean anything to somebody from the Bronx. Because in the Bronx, that wasn't part of Bronx culture. Cruising down the street in a 64 Chevy wasn't part of Bronx culture in 1988. So that song was rejected by that group. Chat room, let me know if you remember the name of that group. That song, he gave it to Eazy-E because that song vibrated with Eazy-E's world. In LA, you cruise, okay, they were from Brooklyn, okay. In LA, you cruise down the street in a 6'4". Yeah, homeboys only. Homeboys only. So you see what I mean by you niggas saying where artists' parents are from? So? Your art is an interpretation of your elementary school, your middle school, your high school, the girls you was around, what you saw walking to the corner liquor store, the conversations you picked up on when your parents' friends were over. That's where the music comes from. Not your parents being born in the South. No, Yogi, it doesn't influence your music. Where you live influences your music. Because let's go back to your South argument. Okay, if Eazy-E's was still living in wherever part of Mississippi his family came from, if he was still living, to say his family came from Grace, Mississippi, would cruising down the street in a 6'4" make sense to somebody living in Grace, Mississippi? No. Shit. It's where you grow up. And your immediate environment. Thank you. Music, you're interpreting what you see. That's why Jamaicans born in New York, them being from Jamaica don't matter. Because they're not expressing anything Jamaican. They're expressing New York. Shit. Being from LA, you always gotta hear that, man. I've been hearing that shit for 43 years. I'm 43 years old. Been hearing that shit my whole life. Well, you talk about a Barry White song. Well, Barry White was born in Galveston, but he moved to LA when he was 3. His music is LA. He went to, he was a businessman gangster out of LA. He stole hubcaps to make money. He's LA. His sister went to Manual Arts High School with my dad. Stop all this regional bullshit. Barry was banging before the Crips. By the time the Crips came around, he was all the way into music. And then even further, when we go to the South, I'm reading a book right now. They were talking about how when cotton became the primary crop, all the slave Virginia started a major economy for Virginia was selling its slaves to Mississippi, where the cotton was. And do you know, I think, and I'm gonna go back and listen to this part of the book, or read this part of the book. I think it said it was in the year 1810. In the year 1810, over 100,000 slaves set sail from Virginia to Natchez, Mississippi, and were sold. But what they did was, instead of marching them across the Appalachians, they put them in boats and they sailed them around the Horn of Florida to the port of New Orleans up to Natchez. And a lot of your slaves that were in Virginia, over 100,000, moved to Mississippi in 1810. What does that tell you? Everybody from Mississippi wasn't in Mississippi long. A lot were, a lot wasn't. So when you're talking about Mississippi, you act as if the people that were in Mississippi were there for long. A lot of slaves were marched across land from Florida to Mississippi and Alabama. A lot of slaves, when slavery got outlawed in the North in the 1830s, they were sold from Philadelphia, New York, Boston, to plantations in Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas. So you have some people who, in effect, were in the South for maybe 30 or 40 years. They got sold into slavery from the North to the South in 1830. Civil War happens, 1865. They go right back to the fucking North. Everybody was moved around. If you want to know more information, all you have to do is look for books on the intra-continental slave trade. There was more slave trading going on within the United States than from outside of the United States. Fact. It's a book called, I have to go look it up. It's a book called The Half Has Never Been Told. Go look that book up. It's a book called The Half Has Never Been Told. It talks about all of the movement within the United States of the slave trade. That's just one book. There are hundreds of books. Do you know that in the 1820s, over 100 black people from the Chicago Midwest area were sold to plantations in Jamaica? Did you know that? Over 100,000 black people were moved from the Midwest to Jamaica in the 1820s and 1830s. Fact. Yeah, but a lot of people that's a good point somebody made in the chat. That's a really good point somebody made in the chat. A lot of people from the upper Northeast don't have slaves. Like in the West, a lot of people in the West still hold on to Southern accents when a lot of people in the upper Northeast don't. Because you have a lot of black people in the upper Northeast that are Lenape. The Lenapes look like me and you, Native people, the Algonquin folks. It's a lot of the Martha's Vineyard area. A lot of those are Native black people. And all of the black people that came from Europe. The last name McDuffie, black people from Europe. The last name Stewart. Black people from Europe. That's what the Jacobite rebellion was in the 1700s. About the Stuarts retaining their land. The Stuarts were the black people. When the Jacobites lost their rebellion, I think it was 1850, 1860, some of them came to the Americas. They were black, swarthy skinned. That's why that Free Black Society in Philadelphia that does that more string classical music, because a lot of them brought that music from Europe. But they were Moors that settled in Philadelphia. Yeah, a lot of black people came from Europe in the 1700s and the 1600s, especially the 1600s. And they retained their sound. And that sound, it was distinctly different than the South. As a matter of fact, it was an inner fighting. It was the black people in the North feeling they were too good for black people in the South. They made sure to not incorporate Southern things. Mostly because they were like, we ain't like them slave niggas. The same division that was going on then is going on now. Them Philadelphia niggas, if you want further information, go look up to the founder of the First AME Church, Richard Allen. Richard Allen and Morris, and then later on Morris Brown, when Morris Brown took the First AME Church to the South. But Richard Allen, when it came to their music, they stuck with hymns and like chamber style music. But when it come down to it, the niggas in the North were like, nah, fuck the South. We don't want to be like them niggas. That's a fact. What's up, Coon Killer? What's up, Miriam? Them niggas in the North was like, the North purposely kept its sound distinct from the South. Because they thought that they were better than the niggas in the South. Well, part of you niggas in the South need to get over it. So that's why y'all pissed because people used to call us slow and dumb. Yeah, people did call y'all slow and dumb. That's part of Black America. We crack jokes. Get over it. Don't sound like them fucking Africans. Y'all called us an African booty scratcher. Nigga, get over it. Niggas did call you slow and dumb. So what? Are you slow and dumb? No. Get over it. They call niggas from the West Coast all kind of shit. So what? Get over it. Crack jokes back. That's what I do. They call you slow and dumb, they hit them back with something. Fuck them. You Southern niggas gonna have to get over that shit. Y'all be as bad as the Africans when it comes to that. Everything come from Africa. No, it don't. Niggas invented all kind of shit when they left Africa. Everything come from the South. No, it don't. Niggas evolved and did all kind of shit when they left the South. And every nigga ain't come from the South. Y'all call me an African booty scratcher. Get over it. You're grown. They called the South slow. So what? Crack jokes back, nigga. I don't feel bad for you. That's right, Greg. The sooner black people realize it's a cross-pollination of culture and sound, but when you boil everything down, the common bond that glues it all together is Black America. Black America. Black America. Those of us who have been in this country for over 200 years. That's the common bond. Period. No, not just America, because you white people didn't contribute shit to our music. Oh yeah, y'all did contribute. Y'all contributed the goddamn pain and terror. So yeah, we give y'all credit. Y'all created the fucked up conditions that made us react the way we did. So yeah, white folks, y'all do. Yeah. Y'all gave us the pain and terror that went in. But all of our music isn't based in pain and terror. A lot of it's joyous and triumphant. Yeah, Black Americans. Because like the North places like Philadelphia purposely didn't integrate a sound with the South for a long time. But when people from the South brought that Southern soul to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia brought in the Philadelphia string and horn sound, you get the stylistics. You get Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You get that classical sound. You hit the like button. I'm over here like I get notifications. People are still going to town on that post that I put up on NWA. People are still like, you see how I played the video earlier? See, whoever saw that, the people who are commenting on that post I made earlier right now about NWA kicking off the whole wearing jerseys and athletic apparel, this nigga's still arguing on that right now. They don't even know that I'm live. And I proved my point. I had somebody that said, Dwann, I don't trust your theory on this. I said, this isn't they say, I don't trust your opinion. I said, nigga, if I'm putting out numbers, that's not an opinion. That's something that's a verifiable fact. Niggas don't even know the difference. You got niggas out here that don't know the difference between opinion and verifiable fact. What I said came just because I heard. I didn't know this was true. Hell, even being from LA, I didn't realize NWA had that massive effect on how we dress. I just happened to be watching a documentary on the Raiders, and the fucking head of NFL marketing said it out of his own fucking mouth. That's how I found out. That's literally how I found out. And I got people that's right now in that chat, in that comment section on that picture I posted, arguing over something instead of just clicking on this video. And I played the video of the fucking head of NFL merchandising saying what I said. But going back to you South niggas, y'all are just as bad as these Caribbean niggas and these African niggas when it comes to our music. The South, the South, the South. Every time you talk about G-Funk, well, Nate Dogg's parents is from the South, and Snoop Dogg's parents is from the South, and Warren G's parents is from the South. Well, why the fuck didn't G-Funk happen in Mississippi then? Huh? Music is a sonic interpretation of your immediate environment. Y'all sound as bad as them tethers. Y'all sound just as bad as them fucking tethers with that. The reason why hip hop popped off in New York, Pete Rock, Busta Rhymes, and not in Jamaica is because that was your immediate environment. Greg Bus said the country nigga left the plantation. Stop that shit. The South, the South, the South. You niggas sound goofy. Cruising down the street in my 6'4" could not have ever been written in Mobile, Alabama. Stop it. What's up, Eddie Floyd? Somebody said the South built LA culture. No, it didn't. LA built LA culture. The reason why us LA niggas is so different is because we had to respond to the LAPD and the rules here. And it's not even unique to us. This is what I implore y'all to do. Just please, please, please. This is what help y'all out. Just if you think I'm bullshitting, just take a 101 level cultural anthropology class. Take one course on cultural anthropology, and it'll show you how culture forms and moves. Let white, since you don't like listening to me, let some white college professor tell you. Let a white person tell you. You'll probably believe a white person. Go learn this shit in college. And we had our own thing here in LA. Gang culture is prevalent in LA because gangs, people always say gang. The reason why the black people in LA were the last to form gangs. That's the thing people don't even know. The reason why Oakland didn't need gangs because their version of white supremacy was different than our version of white supremacy. Everywhere black people are has its own version of white supremacy to deal with. And the culture is built out of how to deal with the reality of your current immediate environment. And LA is full of gangs, police gangs, Italian gangs, but no mafia. See, LA don't have a mafia. The reason why LA don't have a mafia is because the LAPD was the mafia. And so we had to create a culture and an environment to react to our immediate environment and circumstances. Being all the way out here, out west, all alone. In the South, you got one black town here and another black town there. We're culturally completely different from y'all. But while we still share the same black American mass culture, nuance-wise, we have a completely different culture. Because we don't have reinforcements. There's not another. Oakland is 400 miles away. So if something happened to Black LA, we are on our own. And if you go east, the next black town is, if you think about it, the nearest black town east of LA is Dallas. Think about that. The closest black town, if you're going to go east, is Dallas. So we had to develop a different culture out here. A completely different culture because it's a gang-riddled place. The LAPD had mafia-style tactics. And then we had to develop differences. We had to develop a protection because black people lived in a small square box between Alameda and the 110 freeway from downtown to Compton. That box is where all of Black LA lived. We had to deal with white gangs to the east, Jewish gangs to the west, and the LAPD all throughout where we are. So we developed a gang-like culture, the Slauson, the businessmen, the Snyder boys. We developed these gangs as a reaction to the gangs that were all around us. And from that, we developed a musical culture. Well, that's where the gang comes from. But then we also, LA, the environment of LA was car manufacturing. Not car manufacturing parts manufacturing for both cars and airplanes. Boeing was here, Northrop, and the places that employed Black Americans. Volvo was here. Volvo even had a parts place out here in LA. So because you have all these parts places and LA's a car culture, it's nothing. LA's a car culture. You got to remember this. In the 1950s and 40s, Ford Motor Company and General Motors paid LA politicians to strip all of the railroad tracks. So there used to be railroad tracks going down Pacific Coast Highway, taken out. If you ever drive down like San Vicente, Venice Boulevard, these streets, Vermont, with a grass strip in the middle, though where that grass strip is, that used to be train tracks. So Ford Motor Company and General Motors paid the city of LA to strip up all the car services. When my grandmother used to always tell me when I was a kid, we used to take the car everywhere. They paid LA to become a car city. So car culture in America was developed in Los Angeles. Yeah, sure enough, relax. We gave you your attention. Calm down. Thank you, Lori. Calm down. Sure enough, you good. Just calm down. But so the social engineering of America turned Los Angeles into a car culture. Okay? Again, people react to their current environment. So car culture was specifically focused on Los Angeles. So General Motors and Ford can use LA as a model for the rest of the world on cars. The first freeway completed was in Los Angeles, the 110 freeway. The first freeway interchange in the country where you can get off one freeway and go to the next freeway was the 110 to the 101 in downtown LA. If you drive down there right now, the interchange still is. If you go to Disneyland, Disneyland has a mock of that interchange. Look it up. The 110 to the 101. That's the first interchange in the United States. Car culture was built in Los Angeles. And your Black people who moved to Los Angeles filled a lot of those jobs. Firestone. There's a street called Firestone. The street, man, if you ever get off the airplane at LAX, you go down Manchester. Manchester at Central Avenue turns into Firestone. Why is it Firestone? Because every Firestone tire in the world was once built at the Firestone factory on Firestone and Santa Fe. your airplane industry, Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, the place where that stuff was built was here in LA. And a lot of that culture, a lot of those jobs, from us having those jobs, that's where lowrider came from, culture came from. When I did my interview with Big Red's wife, the lady who named lowrider, the term lowrider, he worked at the airplane factory, and the hydraulics used, the shocks that they used on the airplanes, he retrofitted his car and lowered it. So and same thing when it came to the shocks. When it came to the lifts, that came out of LA, out of a brother who worked at the Boeing factory, and he took a piece of the shocks that lifted the airplane spoilers up and put them in his car. It made the car do this. No, the lowrider interview isn't up yet. I'm still putting that together. So when it comes to LA, your job, car factories, it being a car city, that has an effect on the sound of the music. That just made it take over the sound of the music. And so the first song talking about lowriders is by a band named War, called Lowrider. And I personally interviewed the first person who came up with the term lowrider, the first person mentioned in any newspaper in the country. The first time lowriders was mentioned in any newspaper, in any part of the country, was out of a newspaper called the California Golden Eagle in 1957. Lowrider magazine started in 1969, 12 years later. Anybody who understands information, that was the first time I ever had to take a wrench. Anybody who understands information knows dates. Lowrider magazine, 1969. The first time lowriders were ever mentioned in a newspaper, 1957. That was the culture. Yeah, Detroit made the cars, and niggas act like I'm just explaining history. Go listen to a white person's documentary on all this shit, on car culture. Go back and listen to. This is like old information. LA being the hub of car culture. That's like, you can find documentaries on this going back to the 70s. I'm not the news. Dude. Thank you, Arsenio. Yeah, people are slow. Like, I'm not the news. Detroit made the cars, but the planners, the white people who run the United States, said Los Angeles is going to be the city that we're going to turn into a car culture. That's some shit that white people decided. Black people just moved here because there was a fuck ton of jobs in the industry. Why anybody would take that personal is beyond me. That was white people's decision. Hell, being from LA, I don't even like the decision. Do you know that when I was a kid, all the times my grandmama used to always say, man, we used to have streetcars. And then I look around, I see, like, I go back to the East Coast, I go to DC, I go to Philadelphia. Y'all got all kind of subways. Chicago got trains. Do you know how inconvenient it is for LA to be a car culture? I'd love to. Man, it would be. I saw a picture called Old LA, and it showed the streetcar going down Pacific Coast Highway. Do you know how cool it would be for me to be able to take the fucking train to the beach? Do you know how goddamn hard it is to get parking at Venice Beach? I would love to take the train there, but I can't. Because some white people decided in the 1940s that, nah, we want to develop the auto industry out of Los Angeles. It would be way easier if we still had the trains here. That would be dope as fuck. But instead, LA got one subway. And I ain't never been on that motherfucker. It got the orange line that just opened up like 5 years ago. It got that line going down Crenshaw that just opened up like 2 years ago. The blue line, the red line. LA got like 5 train lines. So I'm just giving you again, everything I'm saying just supports what I've been telling y'all. Environment dictates the music. White people decided for LA to be a gang culture because they made the LAPD basically a fucking gang. You got the Lunada Bay gang. It was just an article in the LA Times last month on the Lunada Bay gang in Palos Verdes. How they've been around for like 80 years. And like all of the city council of Palos Verdes and shit and the police department is former Lunada Bay gang members. I didn't create that fucking environment. Yeah, that person asked for their rent to be taken. Like, dude, I'm like, I thought Showed Up was just playing at first. But they kept going, like, maybe they drunk, but even if you are drunk, you gotta chill. Subscriber, that could be it because Hollywood's in LA. They help promote cars all over the country. That's a good point. I didn't think about that, subscriber 10304. I didn't think about it like that. That could be it. Maybe because Hollywood's here, they can use the Hollywood everything. You can say what you want in my chat, but you can't take over. This is my room. Can't take over now. I don't share. As long as people got respect to that, I got respect for them. But if you cross the line of respect, what can I say? So the planners for the United States turned LA into a car culture. the black people who moved here, like my family never worked in cars. Like my granddad worked in food services. My dad was a truck driver. My mom worked for the aerospace industry. The aerospace industry is huge out here. My mom, aerospace industry. My great granddad that moved here, he was a barber. But a lot of my friends, they family worked for the car industries. And if you work at the car and if you work for the car companies, what's the common bond with us as black people? We're very creative. So if niggas are working at the factory that creates the hydraulics for an airplane, what's the nigga gonna do? He gonna put them shocks on his car. And if people are putting shocks on their car and low riding their car, the people who write music, they're gonna see that. Huh. Look at that car over there. It's sitting low. All my friends know the low rider. The low rider is a mean fighter. Do, 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 do. You see how that song was just written? Now, is it too hard for you guys to pick that up? Environment. It doesn't matter if their parents are from the fucking South, Detroit, or anywhere else. The song was written at home because that's what they saw. We worked at the factories. When we were on the weekends, we were fixing our cars. Yeah, black. You think Mexicans started lowriders? Even the Mexicans did do lowriders. Who the fuck copies Mexicans at anything? Now Mexicans they did lowride, but my dad was lowriding in the 70s. Mexicans were like lowriding them old cars from the 40s. Mexicans wasn't in no fucking 6'4" Chevys. The fuck is you talking about? That was Crenshaw. Yeah, look it up. People always say Mexicans was lowriding since the 40s. And if you read anyone that says that, when you read them, they say lowriding, Mexican Americans lowriding dates. They said Mexicans and other people, their lowriding dates back to the 40s. But when was the first actual interview conducted on a lowrider? 1957. And I interviewed the people who were interviewed in that newspaper clipping. Go look up the first pictures of lowriders. Black people. No one has ever taken a Mexican anything culturally. Nothing other than tacos and burritos, nigga. What does subscriber 1304 say? Wrong. I didn't see them say anything wrong, but I wasn't watching also. Think about this. Think about this. What movie really put lowriders out there to the world in the form that we see? When you see a lowrider, what do you see? When the Japanese kids and Europeans are buying lowriders, what kind of lowriders are they buying? They're buying 64 Chevys. Why? Because what was after, okay, you had the song Lowrider, fine. What was the next big song mentioning lowriders? Cruising down the street in my 6'4". And then Boys in the Hood comes out. 6'4" Chevys. Those are the lowriders that went around the world. When you see images of Mexicans and lowriders, they're like in old 1940s dome hubcap cars. They're not in 6'4" Chevys with the Daytons, the Daytons. Those are the lowriders that you see plastered across the world. That's black style. Dre Day, Dr. Dre's video. Ice Cube, Today Was a Good Day. Those are the when you think of the term lowrider, you thinking of Boys in the Hood, Today Was a Good Day, Dre Day. If it was Mexicans doing it, where's the Mexican music videos with those in them? For sure, Rock Faces, you have a good one. That's all you gotta do to shut it down. Okay, music references. Most popular songs referencing lowriders, 2 songs. Boys in the Hood and Lowrider by War. Movie-wise, Boys in the Hood. Okay, what kind of lowrider? Because people lowride all kinds of cars. Even the lowriders Big Red was using, the original lowrider crew, that's not the lowriders that went around the world as lowriders. The most famous lowriders around the world are 6'4" Chevys. That was put on camera by Black Americans. Fact. Yeah, nothing but a G thing. Three points of references: the music, the TV, and what's the model that is shown around the world. All 3 points black to Black Americans out of Los Angeles, California. It's right in front of your fucking face. But people will still give the credit to Mexicans. It's so easy. It's so easy to trace. You don't have to trust me. Just go look. Just go look. Just go look. Bismarck, you a fool. Yeah, the Northern California Mexicans will admit that they copying black people. Yeah. What's up, Jay Jimerson? Yeah, Black American, that's not even, who the fuck around the world copies Mexicans? Like, And what bizarre world is that? Not saying Mexicans did not have lowriders. They low road too. But Mexicans had their own style of lowriding. And their style of lowriding isn't what went across the world. You don't see the Mexican boat dome hubcap cars going across the planet as a representation of lowriders. It's the Black American style of lowriders, specifically the Black Americans from the 80s. The Easy E generation is not the first. The Easy E generation is like the third generation of Black lowriders. When you get to Easy E and Ice Cube and Dr. Dre, that's like third generation LA lowriders, maybe fourth. Because Big Red was the first, and they said that they started, Big Red people said that they stopped lowriding around 69, 70. My dad's generation picked it up around 70, 71. See, I'm gonna have let me tell you something. I'm gonna have my own father in this documentary on lowriders. Why? Because my dad had a 69, he used to lowride. I think he said that he had a 69, I'm drawing a blank. I just had it in my head. Wasn't a Regal. Wasn't a Regal. Riviera. My dad used to, in 72, in 71. My dad was low riding a 69 Riviera in 71. Not even my dad's style of lowrider is what represents lowriders around the planet. My dad was in the 69 Riviera. That was my dad's lowrider. Even those lowriders aren't the ones that you see plastered around the planet. What you see plastered around the planet is the 64 Impala. Somebody said, you may want to check out the movie Corvette Summer. I know that movie. And the lowriders and Mexicans had in there with them old fucking boat dome hubcap 50s cars. Again, not the face of lowriders. The face of lowriders is 64 Impalas. And that came to you through 80s and 90s hip hop. Period. Now, my dad wasn't a slosser. My dad was a hustler. He wasn't a gangster. He was a hustler. Oh, yeah, Jay Jimmins, the episode, yeah. The 6'4" Impala, the 6'4" Chevy, and those cars are the face of the lowrider. So if you look back and see all of the emotional breakdowns these niggas had in the chat for saying that, you see how easy I was able to prove that? You can say, because I cannot say Mexicans weren't lowriding, they were. They have their own lowriders. They have their own style. Their style didn't take over the world. Their style was their style, and it would have stayed that style and had no one ever, they would have kept that style had they not seen what we were doing. Mexicans put them old boat cars down. When the Mexicans, see them same Mexicans saw Let Me Ride. They saw the Dre, they saw the videos. They saw Boys in the Hood. So the Mexicans the Mexicans of the 90s didn't have the same lowriders as their fathers make lowriders. They started lowriding like black people. Hip hop changed Mexican lowrider culture. Do you hear what I'm saying? I already talked about who started putting the switches on about 15 minutes ago. Rewind. Yep. This nigga sound like my Mexicans with the socks at the knees. But I know today I pissed off New Yorkers and I pissed off Southerners. A ma got mad at me. One of my mods got mad at me. First time in my channel history. But hey, I don't give a fuck about your feelings. I'm going to tell you the truth. And when I tell you the truth, I'm going to give you evidence. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion, but I'm backing my opinion with evidence. And if you have an issue with my opinion, then find better evidence and we can talk. Find better evidence. Show me a newspaper clipping before 1957 talking about lowrider culture. And I'll change my opinion. Because I actually have the newspaper clipping from the California Golden Eagle. Appreciate that, Andre Lawrence. Appreciate that. See, you're going to have to... See, man, the only reason why I haven't made Amir Ahmad, because Amir be getting drunk as fuck. But after that, shit, Amir... I was made... the only reason why I hadn't made Amir Lasser Ahmad because Amir be getting loaded. But after that episode with that person, shit. Amir, you Ahmad now. Fuck that. You ain't gonna go off like that nigga just did. Shit. And if you do, you saw what just happened to him could happen to you. That's another song, Brina West, thank you. That's another song that I meant to mention. You may not have a car at all. William Devon, diamond in the back, sun rooftop, dig in the scene with a gangster lean. Ooh, ooh. This is why I say if Mexicans invented lowriding, what's the Mexican lowrider classic that they listen to now? The main lowrider songs Mexicans play is Boys in the Hood, William Devon, Be Thankful, and Lowrider. Those are the Mexican lowrider songs. Why are all of their lowrider songs Black American? That's what they listen to. They listen to Black lowrider music. So who's influencing who? Mexicans have their own language. They can listen to music in English and Spanish. But when George Lopez comes on stage, what song does George Lopez come on stage to? Is he coming on stage to A nosotros hemos vimos a la cuatro o nosotros hemos vimos? No. Is George Lopez coming on stage to doonch, 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 doonch? No. He's coming on stage to Lowrider from War. All you gotta do is listen to them and what they like. They like black shit. So who's inspiring who? Just pay attention to nature. Nigga Amir said, now I gotta be responsible. Nah, you good, Amir. You good, Amir. I know you don't get drunk from time to time, but you good. But I had to get on New York and I had to get on the South. All the South ain't the same. Nashville's not the same as Tennessee as Memphis. Shreveport's not the same as New Orleans. Atlanta's not the same as Charlotte or Birmingham. It's not. Everything don't come from the South. Because when you say everything comes from the South, you disrespect Philadelphia. You disrespect Boston. You disrespect Chicago. There were black sounds in them cities during and before slavery. It is the cross-pollination of black American lifestyle that makes black American music, hip hop, jazz, so on and so forth. And if you got a problem with me saying everybody, then you got a problem. You said, or they play the song Sitting in the Park. Yep, Sitting in the Park. And that song was made by Billy Paul, and the remake was by GQ, another black group. This GQ, the lead singer, kind of sounded Mexican, but he was black. Billy Paul was black. The original and the remake was by black people. That's what they like. And Billy Stewart, I said Billy Paul. Billy Paul was me and Mrs. Jones. Billy Stewart, yeah. For sure, Jay Jemison. Yes, I'm sitting on a fence, on the bench, with my back against the fence, wondering if I have any sense. Yeah. Yeah, what's up, Mama Zeke? Huh? Yeah. So that's what we talked about today. Appreciate all the super chats. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna roll one more blunt. I'm not gonna smoke this one with y'all. I gotta roll a blunt and listen to some fucking music. I'm about to be done talking to y'all. I still got some of this shit. I performed at a weed show yesterday, and they gave me. I got paid And I got like a few ounces of weed. Still got my other shit. I got paid in weed. I'm gonna roll this there. Everything good, Mama Zeke? It's always good. It's always good seeing you pop up in here. It's always good seeing you pop up in here. I met her in Dallas at the thing, at the convention. Good people, good people. Really good people. Dope family too. Dope family also. You say here in Paula? Oh yeah, the song Sideshow. Oh, you said you got to pick up Easy in the Lowrider, Mama Zeke? Let's talk about that. I need that picture. 'Cause I got that cube one you sent. That cube one was dope. I want that Easy E. And please hit me up because I'm doing my documentary on lowriders. If I can hit me up, see if I want to clear that image with you. I would love to. Any images you have of a lowrider, I would love to use to see if I can clear those images with you. Please, that'll go a long way to help me with my documentary. Because your husband took so many dope pictures. And let me tell y'all something. Her husband was from Jamaica, but he wasn't a fucking tether. Sometimes when I get in and talking shit about tethers, I be having her on the back of my mind because it'd be some cool ass Jamaicans out there. I'd be like, man, I really don't want to offend them. I be thinking about certain people, Mama Zeke, and it's a few other people I know. One of my homeboys is from Barbados. Another one of my homeboys is from St. Kitts. And I be like, man, when I be talking about tethers and that kind of stuff, I be having a handful of people on the back of my mind like, man, I don't want them to take this the wrong way. But I still got to say what I got to say. But I never say what I have to say without thinking about certain people. Like, man, I don't want to offend them. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Nigeria. I said Jamaica. Nigeria. And I knew it was Nigeria. My bad. I said Jamaica. Wow. I'm sorry. That was I'm sorry. But I remember he's from, but either way, the point is, he wasn't a tether. You're not a tether. There are people from outside of Black America who just appreciate it. And they took their pictures, did their music out of appreciation. And I'm cool with that. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But, you know me, I'm still going to say what I have to say. But I've been thinking like, man, I don't want to offend nobody. People that I'm cool with, I said Jamaica. I said, I'm so goddamn dyslexic. Yeah, I don't know how dyslexic I am, yo. Yeah, but that's a major problem thinking that Mexicans did some goddamn low ridings and shit. No. He said I gotta do 100 push-ups for the mistake. Yeah, I do. Yeah, so again, Music is a sonic interpretation of your immediate environment. So yeah, to my people from the South, let it go. If somebody did some music in LA or Chicago, that's music that's Detroit, that's music that's resonating through these people, through their current environment. Smokey Robinson grew up in Detroit. That's why even when you listen to Detroit, you can just take. He's not rolled up in 20 seconds. Yep. You can just take Detroit for a second for a case study on environment. Listen to Motown. Listen to Motown in Detroit, and listen to Motown when it moved to LA in 1971. Motown has a completely different sound from 1968 to 1972 because the environment changed. Especially if you listen to early Motown, a lot of those Motown musicians worked on the assembly line. So the sound had an assembly line feel. Listen to the song Sugar Pie Honey Bun by the Four Tops. Dun 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 dun, slamming the snare on the quarter note. When you listen to that has a very assembly line machine factory time feel. Dun 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 dun. You're sweet as a honeybee, but like a honeybee stings, you're gonna let my. It's very assembly line. That's because those Detroit musicians were working on the assembly line. And the environment of Detroit was very manufactured. So even the way Motown put out its records, it was a factory. It was, we're gonna produce a song. Diana Ross is gonna sing a version of it. Smokey's gonna sing a version. Then we're gonna have Martha Vandellas and whoever's version come out the best. It was very environmentally Detroit. But when Motown moved to LA, the sound opened up. Took on a different texture, different tone. And a lot of your Detroit acts, the Four Tops, the Temptations, that were really, really on in Detroit, everything changed up when they moved to LA. The sound became different. The Jackson 5 started to take over when they moved to LA. And then you get the Commodores. And then Rick James. Completely, Motown Detroit and Motown LA are completely different sounds. Because in LA, now you got LA musicians. You got Louis Johnson on bass. You got LA musicians, the Zelle brothers, producing. The sound completely changed when it came to LA. Somebody says, so you saying LA did it better? Who the fuck said that? Like, hey, party, stop being a cornball. Like, dude, get out your feelings. Who said LA did it better? The fuck? I literally just said it changed. What's wrong with some of you niggas? So you saying you did it better? No, I'm saying you're a dumbass. That's what I'm saying, okay? Be very clear. I'm saying you're a dumbass. I literally just said it changed. Change isn't better, change isn't worse. Change is just change. The fuck is wrong with some of y'all? Yes, I said it. The sound did open up more. That doesn't. What's wrong with some of you niggas? Yes, the sound opened up more. LA's a more open environment. It doesn't mean it's better. All right, let me slow it down for the slow people. All right. Motown was more assembly line oriented. What happened in 1971? Marvin Gaye sued for independence, and so did Stevie Wonder. Motown wanted to stay boxed in, but by the time they moved, they could no longer even stay boxed in. God wouldn't even let them stay boxed in. Marvin Gaye had to sue Berry Gordy for independence, and that's how he did What's Going On. Stevie Wonder had to sue for independence, and that's when he came out with Music of My Mind. And Motown had to relinquish control. It didn't have even the same kind of control it had in Detroit. The artists started getting more autonomy and independence, and it broke away from the factory. And if you want to know that, just go watch a fucking Motown documentary. God damn. See how offended? See, nigga, I'm getting offended. Well, you said it opened up. Well, nigga, don't listen to me. Go watch any fucking documentary on Motown. God damn. What's up, subscriber? I don't even know why you were timed out. I didn't see what you said that timed you out. It could have been a mistake by one of my mods. But welcome back, subscriber. It could have been a mistake. Yeah, Tilo Brown, you feel my frustration? Nah, subscriber 100304, you good. I didn't see you say anything. If you were timed out, it's probably a mistake. Oh my God, these people are fucking stupid and goofy as hell. Complain like little bitches and then be like, look at him, he's, oh God. So you said it was better? Now when we're done, I'm gonna pin this video in that comment I made yesterday on earlier today on NWA. Thank you, Andre. These people don't want to listen and learn. People just want you to confirm their prejudices. I'm not here for that. I don't care how you feel or what you holding on to. Most of what we believe is a lie. I know because I believe a bunch of lies too. I'm only speaking on what I've researched or what I've experienced as a musician. You guys also forget I'm a musician. As a musician, I know how music is created. That's nothing Born King. A lot of people do not want to acknowledge the contributions of the West. That's the first, that's really what it is with a lot of these people. What's up, little bitty? You said, I appreciate that. Yeah, salute thought crimes. But I'm a musician. I know how it works. When you're in a certain environment, different things come out. And if your mother's from Mississippi and your father's from Louisiana, that has nothing to do with your Los Angeles music. If you were born in Kansas City but raised in New York, doesn't have anything to do where you were raised. If your mom was born in Jamaica, again, y'all sound like the Jamaicans. Just because your mom was born in Jamaica doesn't make your music Jamaican, peak rock. Your music is New York style hip hop. Yeah, the issue is people despise the West. People despise the West, and I know it. So all I gotta do is keep teaching the truth, and they get mad. Amir, don't go too crazy now. Here's somebody else that said, what modern music wasn't born in Mississippi Delta? The Philadelphia sound wasn't born in Mississippi Delta. That wasn't. String and horn arrangements has nothing to do with the fucking Mississippi Delta. Now, the drums and the diddly bow and the guitar and the bass, that got something to do with Mississippi Delta, but not string arrangements. But I've been on here an hour and a half, and I did 2 hours earlier today. I've been talking to y'all for like 5 hours. I'm about to get up out of here. But my point about West Coast hip hop influencing how people dress, I just played the video to prove what I had to say. Yeah. All right. I'll be with y'all tomorrow, man. Thank y'all for tomorrow. We are doing another reading show tomorrow. We are reading what this 9 of Hearts year is going to be like for the United States, for us. All right? All right. Y'all be good.